Welcome back everyone. So today I'll be talking directly to persons who don't have a job offer here in Canada, or they're finding it very challenging to secure a job offer and they still want to come to Canada. So I'm going to share with you an alternative route that you're able to take if it's a case where you're finding it challenging to secure a job offer. So this particular route is through the express entry. And for persons who don't know, and just to kind of make it as simple as possible, I'll know what the express entry pool is. And in essence, it is an online pool of applicants, or a grouping of applicants from all over the world. Some persons are in Canada, some persons are in Jamaica, Barbados, Nigeria, different places in the world, and they're in this great big online pool that the Canadian government has that they are managing. And it's basically a case where on different intervals, sometimes monthly, sometimes bi-weekly, they do a draw, which is in essence them pulling persons from this pool to say, hey, inviting you to apply for permanent residence, which is known as the PR card, right? So before you're able to get to that point of doing your application, how does getting into the pool work? It's a points-based system, right? So you get points for your age, you get points for your work experience, say from here in Canada or from back home. You also get points for your marital status, for your education, and so many other factors that contribute to the points. In this video, I'll also share with you the calculator that you're able to use to pretty much calculate how many points you would have based on your individual situation, so you would know if you have a high chance of getting selected in this manner. Specifically for persons who are already here in Canada and they're looking for PR, the draws are currently set at 527. And as I mentioned, the points are based on different criteria: age, your educational background, your marital status, and your work experience. So there are different factors, but I will show you the calculator known as the comprehensive ranking score calculator. So I'll do a video at the end that will walk you through how you are able to calculate the number of points that you currently sit at. Before you get into the express entry pool, there are a couple of things that you will need to do. As I mentioned, it's free. There is no cost to create a profile in the express entry pool, potentially being selected to apply for your residency. But before we get to that point, say your diploma, your degree, whatever it is from back home, then you would first need to have that evaluated, and the evaluation is done by Wes, and on screen I'll put their details so you're able to go and check out their website. Mind you, they do charge a particular amount to have your credentials assessed. What the assessment is basically doing is looking at this diploma, degree, whatever it is that you receive, say in Lagos, Nigeria, to say, okay, this is a master's here, but what does this equate to on the Canadian side of things? And that's basically what you're paying for, and that would put into the express entry pool to say what your educational credential back home equate to on this side of the world, right? And then the next piece is you would be required to do an English test. Even if English is your native language, you'd still be required to do an English test. The two most popular ones right now is IELTS, I'll have it up on screen, and CELPIP. I personally did the CELPIP. I have no bad experience to share with regards to the CELPIP. I know that persons have their preference in terms of which one they would like to take. You can certainly look at both and then make your determination. There are some countries that only offer one or the other and not have the option to choose between both of them, but whichever one you do, it is completely fine. So those are two of the main things before you get into the express entry pool. And I'll say this part. So say you didn't go to college, you didn't go to university. It's not a case where I'm saying do not enter the express entry pool, because there are different draws that they do, and the draws that I mentioned is just them pulling persons from the pool to say, hey, you can go ahead and apply. And one of those criteria that they sometimes pull for is specific occupations, because they some months ago they pulled for trade workers, and trade workers included electricians, it included carpenters, welders. I'm going to show all the occupations that were involved with that particular draw that they completed some months ago. So it's not a deterrent to say if you didn't go to college not to enter the pool. There is definitely trade positions that are sometimes pulled. They even did one for healthcare workers as well. They did one for French speakers as well. So it's definitely recommended that no matter what your circumstances are, that you definitely go ahead and enter the pool. And say you're a carpenter and you go ahead and you enter and your score is at 386, let's say, for example, but you notice that the last draw that they did, the scores were 433. Do not be discouraged, because about 2 or 3 years ago they did a draw that was like, I believe it was 76 or 78, I don't remember, but it was extremely low, and they literally took every single person from that pool. So if you were in that pool at the time and you were selected, you even had a score of 100 and you were somewhere way across the world, the option to come to Canada as a PR holder. So that was literally mind-blowing for a lot of persons back then, and I am sure, I don't know if it will happen again, but if it does, you definitely want to be on the side of things that is ready for that when it happens. And as I mentioned, I'm going to show you on screen how the calculator works, so you yourself would be able to see what your score is and then be able to create an express entry profile. Any further hesitation, let me go ahead to show you, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this information with somebody that needs it, because I know for a fact it can be challenging to secure a job offer here in Canada. So this is a route that a lot of persons before me, after me, will definitely take. So if it's something that you are interested in, I would definitely recommend that you go for it. So we're going to go over to Google. You're going to type in CRS calculator, click on express entry. This takes you to the government's website. We're going to go down and let's pretend that this person is married and their spouse will come with them to Canada. We'll say that this person is 30. And then next, we'll say that this person has a bachelor's degree. You would select whatever is applicable to your personal situation. And then from here, if they've studied in Canada, we'll say no. For the test, we'll say that they've done the ALS, but for now we'll say that it's less than 2 years old. It does expire when it gets to 2 years. Then we'll say select ALS here, and then here we will assign scores. So I'll say 7, then I'll say 8, I'll say 7 again, and here I'll say 9. And bear in mind, if you're doing this before you've done your English or your French test, you'll be using estimates of what you believe you would score on these different areas of the test, like the speaking, listening, reading, writing. You would just put in estimates. And then for French, we will say no. If you've done French, you'll say yes. Or if you speak French and you believe that you can score really well in a French test, then definitely put your estimated scores in. Then work experience, this person has never been to Canada, so we'll say none. Then the next one is their work experience back home. We'll say 3 years or more. For Canadian certification, we'll say no. Then this one is if they had a job offer, which also gives you additional points, but we'll say no. If they have a nomination, we'll also say no to that one. This is if your spouse or partner has a brother or say a sister living in Canada. We'll say no. If you say yes, it does give you additional points. And then we'll say calculate score, right? And then as you can see, scores are assigned based on the answers that you provide. So you may see 95 here, someone else may see 85. It just depends on your age. So here it's 105, education is 120, the language is 127. And if you scroll down, you'll continue to see the points that were awarded for the individual sections, right? And if we go all the way to the bottom, now we'll see the grand total here of 427. So let's say this person was an electrician. They saw that their score was 427. They went and did the test. They went and had their education evaluated, if that's their particular situation. And then they entered their details into the express entry pool. A draw is done. They want electricians, and the cutoff score for that particular draw is, let's say, 412. It would mean that this person would be selected. No matter where in the world they are, they would be invited to apply for their residency here in Canada. Important to note, no matter what your score turns out to be, definitely go ahead and have it entered into the pool once you've done the assessment and once you've done the English or the French test. Go ahead and have your details entered into the pool, because they could drop the score really low, or they could be targeting a particular occupation, whether it be a nurse, a teacher, an electrician, a carpenter, whatever it is. You want to ensure that you are not missing out on that opportunity. And once this is definitely targeting persons who may find it challenging to land a job offer, or they have been searching for a while but they're not making any headway. This is a great opportunity for you to give yourself a chance at migrating. So that brings us to the end of the tutorial, and I definitely hope that you found this helpful and you're able to follow along. Perfect, there you have it. And I actually changed my lighting, so you guys can tell me in the comments if you like the first one or you like this one. I'm kind of playing around with my lighting to see what looks better and what kind of comes across better on screen. So I would really appreciate your feedback in telling me which one you kind of prefer, right? So perfect. So I just showed you how persons are able to go ahead to at least calculate what their CRS score would be, so that it gives them a good idea of what they would be up against when they enter into the express entry pool. So if you can, certainly go ahead and get yourself in there, because you never know when they will need construction workers or electricians or accountants, teachers, whatever it is, and just pull from that pool. And if you're not in there, as I mentioned before, then you stand zero chances of actually being selected. It's where you need help with setting up your express entry pool. That's definitely something that I'm able to walk persons through, right? So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I look forward to connecting with you guys in the comments. And always feel free to message me on here or send me an email. I also have a link in the description box. If you need help with your LinkedIn or your resume, you can definitely go ahead and use the link to book a one-on-one session with me. And I also offer additional services. So I look forward to connecting. Talk soon. Bye.